one of the hardest things that a young law firm can do and have to manage is the selection of clients, believe it or not. When a new lawyer starting a new career with a new law firm and a client walks in the door, it can be so exhilarating. It is an exciting moment. And the temptation to take that client is huge. And maybe that's the appropriate thing to do, to accept that and enter into an attorney-client relationship with those early clients, but maybe not. And one of the things that takes some discipline, but a lawyer in that situation really ought to ask himself or herself, is why is this client going to hire me? I'm just starting my career. I'm just a single lawyer in a single law firm. Why are they coming to me? And you have to ask some questions, such as, have you ever been represented by anybody else in this same matter? How many other lawyers have represented you? And if the answer is, it turns out you're the third or the fourth lawyer, and the client is telling you that the others just weren't making it and were not good enough, that should be a huge red flag for you. Often that is the sign of a client who is very difficult, who has high expectations that no lawyer could meet, and that apparently other lawyers have been unable to meet. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation at any time in your career, but especially not in the beginning, where you have what can be called an unworthy client, somebody who is not going to respond to your good efforts to provide good legal services. But no matter what you do, will not be happy, might not pay you, might fire you, might file a bar complaint against you, might sue you for malpractice. Those are things to avoid, obviously, and one of the tricks is to learn, well, what's a good client and what's not a good client. And this, again, is a situation where being able to talk to someone and talk about that representation and some facts about that case and what you've learned about that client might be helpful in identifying a worthy client from an unworthy client. Even if you do a good job picking your clients, there might be some relationships that will go sour over time. Clients who stop paying their bills. What do you do at that case if suddenly a client who's been paying stops paying? And this isn't something that's confined to people just starting their careers. It happens throughout a career. What do you do when clients start to be disgruntled with the services that they're receiving or less responsive to you when you need them to answer questions and give you information? How do you handle that? How do you manage that? And this is another area where having someone to counsel you, to give you advice, to help you work through those situations, and sometimes even to mediate the relationship with that client can be something that's helpful to small law firms. Even in the best of circumstances, there might be some issues that arise with clients. A fee dispute, for example, where both sides are in good faith. Both sides think that they are right. And in that circumstance, it can be appropriate to engage in a fee arbitration through the State Bar of Arizona or through a private arbitrator. And in those circumstances, again, the lawyer's emotions can be the lawyer's worst enemy. Having the lawyer get someone else to represent him or her or the firm is often the way to remove emotion from the situation, make sure that the analysis is disinterested, and give advice to the lawyer about how to proceed, whether to proceed, and how much to push the lawyer's claim for fees. Fee issues often do generate bar complaints, and bar complaints are far more stressful emotionally and potentially harmful to a career than a fee dispute. So it's very important not to let the emotions of what a lawyer often considers to be an unfair attack on the lawyer's claim for fees. You don't want to let that develop into something that really could threaten an entire career. And it's very important to have someone you trust and within the confines of an attorney-client relationship to look at the situation and tell you whether you are right or wrong and how to go about the best and most efficient way to get a resolution that you can live with, but also hopefully the client can live with.